on believing, nobody else gotta see it. Keep on reaching, the stars are aligned and feel it. I said keep on believing, nobody else gotta see it. Keep on reaching, the stars are aligned and feel it. I got ice in my veins and my teeth are froze. Happen cause the passion I've been making goals. Only time I feel alive is when I'm chasing goals. And when I'm reaching goals, that's why I be alone. The time I level up is when I be alone. Only way to really find out what you're capable. Let's put it all on the line when you're chasing goals. There's a magic that'll happen when you're facing up. There's some magic that'll happen when you're waking up. And when you're weak and numb, but you keep breaking them. I'm talking curses that are around you generational. I'm talking chains around your neck to really weigh you down. Like I used to give a fuck of what they think about. I was swimming on the surface, but I'm deeper now. Lost you out a long time, face the reaper now. Forget what everybody says, you gon' be the one.
This borderline fly like a skateboarder high. Comprised provocative prototype, immortalized to the mind. Delude your mind as soon to find and food yourself. You could rule the world as good as how to do the work. Exhale the negativity. Start bringing in the new. Be the reason someone out there keeps a dream in pursuit. Cut the base, let it bleed. Light it up, illumine all. Pursue it all. Proving to be indubitable. Believe in your mind. What you say and think is what comes to life in the days and weeks. It's all possible. Baby steps making it be. Dedicate consistent set in daily routines.
Tired of being alone. Keep on believing. Well, then you're missing the mark. You've been putting it off to tomorrow. It's time to feed with the shark. Keep on believing, nobody else gotta see it.
Hey, Alicia. Hey, Alicia, how's it going? Hey, everybody.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Mute button.
It's okay.
So many
Yeah,
buttons.
so many buttons. Working on a new
So
intro
many.
and stuff. Welcome, everybody, to the NonCustodials Live today. I'm Zach Martin with my co-host here today, Alicia Bullock. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody else that's here. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. We're excited to have you guys taking part and just enjoying what we have coming up here. We got a great show today. A friend of mine, author, a wonderful mom. She's shares parenting with her kids, and she's just a really incredible lady who I've really spent a lot of time with for the last probably 5 years, and we've just had a really great relationship. So, Alicia, this is your first time meeting her, right?
It is. It's most of the time it's my first time meeting everybody. So
That's okay.
I'm a fangirl. It's good.
I mean,
It works out.
it's hey, I love it. What's up, Alex? Good to see you, buddy. Hope everything's going good for you in St. Louis. So, I think that yeah, I'm a fan of everybody that I've invited to bring on the show and everybody we've had so far. And if people want to have people on, would love to have your input. We're looking to get a lot of fathers to come on here soon, also, and some mothers with their parenting experiences, because it's nice to hear the stories that everybody's gone through to get to the spots where they are today. Whether they're an advocate or a shared parenting expert. Oh, you're from Kansas City? Oh, Kansas City too. Hey, Missouri in the house. So either way, it's good to have these different voices and different ideas out there and shared of what is happening in this community and with parenting around the country and the world. So we've got some cool shows coming up. We got next week we have Jeff Miller from St. Louis. He is the 50/50 guy, and he's a lawyer, dad, advocate. He just started a new business to do legislation work. He was instrumental in the group that put together the work for the bill being done in Missouri over the last half decade or so. And he's fantastic. And then after that, we're working on getting a dad on to share his story. And it should be a really interesting one. It's got some international border issues and stuff coming up. And it should be really engaging and informational, which is really cool. And then after that, we got a mom coming on, and then we're going back to some experts, because it's nice to have people who have spent time researching and doing the work to get this stuff done, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
anyways, I've rambled on, and it won't be the last time. But I think everybody came on today to see Emma and listen to Emma talk about her story, the new book that she wrote, the 50/50 Solution.
The
Just came
50/50
out.
solution.
Just came out a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I've thumbed through it. I have not read it yet.
Me either.
But I intend to read it, and Emma's going to probably school me on it today and let me know all the important things along with you guys. And so, without further ado, let's welcome Emma to the stage. Welcome, Emma.
Yeah.
What a warm, enthusiastic welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Buttons are awesome.
We got buttons. So
We
good.
are so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Thanks for this work that you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're doing a lot of work
you're
compared to the
doing.
work we're doing. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, books are a lot of work. I don't recommend writing, but somebody's got to do it. You're welcome.
Yeah. You did a lot of work on this one. I read the single mother, wealthy single mother one that you had before, and it was fantastic. And then I've thumbed through this one with the intention to read it, and yeah, it's going to take me some time to put this thing down. But kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little about why you wrote this book.
Yeah, so I'm Emma Johnson. I have been working in this space around single parents and separated families for a long time now, like 12 years. I've been working as a journalist my whole career, and all those years ago, I just started a blog. I just had stuff to say. I was a financial journalist. I've always been very interested in money, and I've been interested in gender, and becoming a single mom kind of was this opportunity to look at all those things through this new lens. So I just had a lot of just stuff to get off my chest. And that just took off, and it became this whole thing. And so at the time, like I say, like I was a child, I am a child of divorce, and that was a long time ago when people were doing divorce way worse than I hope we're doing it today. I was raised primarily by my mom. My dad was not very involved. And of course, I swore I was never going to get divorced. I was never going to be a single mom. And guess what? Here I was a single mom, and I was like, oh crap. So I was a primary parent. I did fight for a majority of time with my kids. And they were tiny babies. And I got in there and I was like, oh yeah, I won. But guess what? Now I've got these kids all the time. This doesn't feel like winning. This sucks. And it's not fair.
This is terrible.
This is
Wow.
Careful what you ask for, ladies.
Right.
So meanwhile, I had the benefit of having this very large audience of moms, and I was interacting and just in it. Like I was just in this subject, like completely immersed in it. And I was hearing from all kinds of people, men and women and dads. And I was writing a lot of things which I'd probably be embarrassed about today. And it was just an evolution. So fast forward, by the time you and I met, Zach, I was, really solidifying my ideas around equal parenting, which really I had to unpack my ideas about gender. And I'm a card-carrying feminist, and it gets harder every day. Because I really had to challenge a lot of longstanding assumptions that I had about gender, about parenthood, about justice, about the world, about money. And I really just continued to look to science. So we're living in this unprecedented time of social science, right? Like people want to take me to task on this issue and like, oh, that's your opinion. Here's my opinion. I'm like, I have no opinion. Like, here's the science. Bye. The end. Right. Of course, that science is up for debate. And increasingly we don't trust science, probably for good reason, but it's complicated. And I think that's where I came to on this issue, because we can say these issues are complicated and they're nuanced. And I felt very called to shed light on that. So being more specific, generally, if you talk to women, divorced, single, separated moms, the overriding complaints about their co-parents are like, guys suck. They don't show up. They don't care about their kids. They don't do their share. And also moms inside of relationships and marriages. And if you talk to dads, they will say, well, the moms gatekeep the kids. She withholds the kids. She wants to be in control all the time.
Yep.
And I have taken anecdotally and as scientifically as I've been able to, I would say both of those are true. Both of those can be true at the same time, right? And then if we unpack that into a larger, more macro look at gender and parenthood, the pay gap exists. Men are also suffering. We are evolved adults, and we can hold both of those ideas at the same time. There's the gender disparities go both ways. So this is where I stand, and I really think that if we're going to make real progress on these issues, we have to be addressing both of these simultaneously. And it's very challenging, especially in this political climate. I think everybody wants everything to be binary, one thing or the other, black or white, dumb it down, make it simple, but it's not. I mean, some things are simple, like parenting schedule should just be 50-50. Right.
Yeah.
But in terms of the larger things, I think that I really hope that we can call on our higher selves and give each other grace and be curious about people's human experiences and curious about gaps in justice and equality. And it's hard to get there. And that's why it took me several years to write this book, because it's hard.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That unpacked a lot.
That's
That
a
was
lot. So that's
good.
my introduction. And I'm Emma Johnson.
This is Emma Johnson.
Yeah, that was a lot to start
by
with,
the way.
and really good. I mean, like, lots of great information. I think one of the things that is interesting is your evolution, like you talked about. You know, I mean, there's a lot that I like to talk about that you talked about, but the evolution from I want to win custody of my kids, right, and I want to be in charge, and then getting what you wished for, and it not being the ideal state. Tell us about kind of how that went about. You know, how did that in that experience? How was that? And then what made you change your mind? And how did you get the buy-in from your co-parent, your dad?
You know, I don't spend tons of time talking about my personal story for a lot of reasons, including that mine. I feel like it is anomalous. I mean, everyone thinks their divorce story is so special, and they're not.
Yeah,
I'm
they
here to
do.
tell you, the story is super boring, but mine's special. But I'll just very briefly say, like, my kid's dad, he, right before we split up, he had a brain trauma and really went through it, and so he really wasn't doing great at the beginning of our journey as co-parents, a divorce. And so I honestly, so one of the big themes of my book is that in the spirit of grace, like, life is going to happen, right? People they're deployed, they have chronic illness, they have mental health issues, they have addiction issues. And that doesn't mean that 50-50 is never going to be part of that family's story. And I think that as a culture, take the laws out of it. I mean, if the law is okay, whatever, but as a culture, if we understand the 50-50 is best for kids whenever absolutely possible, if we approach co-parenting in the spirit of 50-50, that creates so much flexibility for us to deviate from it. So if somebody's caring for an aging parent, right? Maybe that schedule isn't going to be 50-50. Maybe it's going to be 20-80 or whatever the number is.
Right.
But everybody knows that you're going to do your darndest to get back to the 50-50. And then that's communicated to the kids, and the kids understand that both parents are in it to win it, and that both parents are equal, that moms and dads are both equal, that their love for both of their parents is important and reflective of how their value as a person, right? And you can come back to it. So I started my divorce journey. There was no such grace or no such understanding of equality at all, right? And so in my dream scenario, if my children going forth have a tragedy in their families of parents, there would be a community around them that would say, okay, that's really bad. Let's support you while one parent is primary parent, the other parent can take care of themselves and hopefully get support, so you can come back to something that's more equal. So in my family's case, we did go through that hard time, and I just frankly nudged until we got to 50-50. And a whole bunch of things just fell into place where it can happen, right? It can happen because it's like you're just moving. I don't know. I know I'm being vague. I just don't want to get into my own personal stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. A lot of things we talk about in our groups and
I'll
stuff, at the men's groups that I
Zach.
do, we talk about not telling your story, right? Because everybody has a story. They're all terrible. Like, it's never you don't get divorced because, we had like the most Disney relationship, and then we figured, you know what, let's spice it up with a divorce, right? And that's not how those things go. You know, it's
Women,
because things aren't going right.
And it gets to a point
and
where you just don't need, you need to stop talking about it. You can't be telling the same bad stories for 20 years. That is not a good look. It's not healthy.
right. All I
mhm,
was going to say was, Zach, women in general, so when it comes to that split, most of the time they think like dad can't do it like I can do it. So this is the way it's supposed to be.
mhm.
It's not
What?
supposed to be 50-50. It's supposed to be 80-20 or 70-30. You know, the 70 to me, because I'm the mom and I do everything and I've always done everything, and gender role, gender specific type things, sort of like in marriage, maybe not, but that's why. And I think I've thought that before.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm,
most women, they have that opinion.
Well, our culture sets it all up, right?
Yeah.
And we're all of us are products of our environments and our culture. And I think we have to understand that before we're going to change it.
Right.
That doesn't make us bad women. It doesn't make us bad moms, but I think it's those of us that have media platforms is our responsibility. Tell people show a mirror on that, help people unpack the science, that I mean, this is what this is a whole education for me too, right? It's like moms and dads both biologically, chemically bond with newborns, even
Right.
prenatal, right?
mhm.
Children benefit equally but differently from mothers and fathers,
Right.
right? Not
That's what
just
came to
Right.
mind when you said that, was
yeah.
like the skin to skin conversation, like somebody was talking about the other day, like, oh, why is the dad holding the baby on his chest? Why? That doesn't even matter. And it's like, you're dumb. Move along.
Well,
Yes,
right,
it does matter.
the product
Like,
of that
it
is like
definitely does.
kids don't benefit. But then we're talking about men, right? When we dismiss men, the importance of fatherhood, we're robbing men of arguably the most important primal part of their humanity. And we have
Mhm,
collectively, as a culture, done that. And then we wonder why, men are dying at much younger ages and dying of deaths of despair from overdoses and suicides
Suicide. Yeah.
and on, employment rates and higher education attainment, on and on. I mean, boys to older men, middle-aged men across race, across education levels. I mean, this is really an epidemic that we're dealing with men. And it's like, okay, and meanwhile, we're telling them they're incompetent dads that are so incompetent, so irrelevant that they don't even matter when they don't live with their kids. Like, we can just throw them away. Like, these things, when you start to look at them through a new light, it becomes so obvious and so stark. But we're just starting to have these conversations in a meaningful way.
mhm.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, men get a lot of value as being a provider. We see ourselves as like providing for our family and giving and doing the work and doing the hard stuff that we need to do to like sacrifice to give to our kids. And then guys want to be there. I think, if a guy had a choice, and most guys that I know, if they had a choice, if I could not go to work and I could just be at home with my kids and play with my kids and imagine that we're having like Nerf doors and we're being dinosaurs, every guy would choose to do these things every day. But that their responsibilities, and guys know that they have those things and they want to be involved. They want to be there with their kids. And when they split up, they still want to have that connection. And unfortunately, the way that our system's set up is to make one person have it all the time and the other person kind of just be there every other weekend. And it's hard to have that real deep connection and that real good bond when you're missing so much in the day-to-day activities of being a parent, and
Yeah, that's
and
what
there's a
we
lot
told
there's a lot
research. Yeah, the research in the this one therapist I interviewed, she's a family therapist, and he has this term gritty parenting. So
okay.
it's just running the kids around after school, wrestling with the kids to get into the bath, making them eat, like managing all the schedule, like all the annoying parts of parenting are what connect you to that kid, right? And then it's also
Mhm.
connecting you, for example, to the school and to their friends and their coaches and all of the hard part of parenting. If you take that away from a dad and just say, oh, you know, just do the every other weekend, the Disney dad thing, like that's not great. Like he's not connecting. It's forget about the number of hours. He's not even doing like the hard part that is
Right.
forging that bond.
Yep.
So yeah, let's get real. Nobody wants to stay home and do Nerf guns all day, Zach. That is like you're lying to yourself.
Well, I don't know how many Nerf gun battles you've had, but I think I was
I hate
sweating so
It
hard this
can
I
be
don't like
weekend.
to play.
overwhelming. It's
I
overwhelming.
think we had a 2 hour Nerf gun battle this weekend straight. Like me and my son, my girlfriend's son, and one of their friends, and we were in the house sweating bullets because of how intense our Nerf gun battle was. It was so much fun, and the kids absolutely just loved it. So I'm not sure how much that's done in New York City or not, but out here in South Dakota, Nerf battles are a thing.
Well, so that's how long we haven't talked to each other. I live in Richmond, Virginia now.
Oh my
See?
gosh, you live in Virginia?
Jeez.
Life has gone on.
It is, yeah. I know. I think congratulations on moving. I'm happy for you.
Me too. I'm so glad not to live in New York.
She's
I
crazy.
think
Let's nerf it out.
let's nerf it out. I really enjoy those opportunities and stuff, and I think that's something that when I didn't get my son so much is that it was the day to day things. It was the constant opportunity to have that interaction with kids, and one of the things that I really love about being in South Dakota that I got this opportunity, and I always love to give praise to Senator Tom Pischke. He changed some laws here and allowed it that that the non-custodial parents got to have one overnight every single week and Sunday nights. So I get the privilege of taking my son to school at least 2 days every other week, 3 days every 2 weeks. And there's a lot of value in like getting that routine going. And, I get myself up in the morning and I brush my teeth and I take my shower and I do the exact same things. I eat my breakfast every single day. But when you're managing a little human to get them to do all those things, it's a skill. You get to like prepare yourself, and there's so much value that I've gained by how do I get him engaged? How do I get him excited about wanting to brush his teeth and eat his breakfast? Because eggs and sausage is exciting, and they still don't want to eat it.
Yeah. Right. Someone's
What are you
cooking a
doing
nice
wrong?
breakfast. You're like, this is great. Meanwhile, they're like
Thanks.
throwing it on the floor.
All the work.
These things like a mom does things different than a dad does them, and when the mom's doing
We
it,
didn't get that first part that you said. I didn't, at least. Did you?
Yeah, you had a little cut out there.
Yeah, he cut out.
anyways, it was about like that we do it different. Moms do it different than dads do it, and the difference gives value to the kids. The kids gain so much more by having both parents engaged in bedtime routines and being engaged in morning routines and taking to school and picking up from school. Tomorrow morning, I have my son. We're riding bikes to school tomorrow morning. And we talk about how we're going to get up in the morning. We're going to do all these things, and we're going to get up and ride our bikes in the morning time. And he went outside today and made sure he had the bike lock all figured out, so he knew the combo, so he could open it and close it, right? And he's pumped about this opportunity to ride bikes with his dad. And in the typical every other weekend experience, you can't ride bikes with your dad to school. It doesn't ever happen.
That's right.
Ever.
And I think kids want that. Kids want those things. They want to have mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
That's right. It's all those things. And, one big thing that somebody said this and it really sunk in, but it's like a lot of these custody battles are like, come down to like, who's the better parent? Well, first of all, like the idea that there's one primary home and then like a satellite home, right? And I have like a whole chunk of the book where I really unpack how we really do not understand attachment parenting. I think that a lot of that is rooted in old science, which was ahead of its time for its time in the 50s. No kidding, in the 50s, when we came with this idea about attachment, what social sciences studied and produced probably great, reports about attachment parenting, right? Like how the kid can bond with one parent. Of course, that parent's gonna be the mom, and how everything needs to be prioritizing that bond. Okay, that was great science at its time. It's obsolete now. Now we know that babies can bond with multiple people. They can bond with they can and do bond with both their parents and grandparents and the nanny and whatever, right? They can bond with multiple people. And when they bond with more than one, that doesn't mean, it's not like it's a pie where there's like this amount of bonding and then it's divvied up amongst like loving caregivers. It's infinite. Love is infinite and bonding is infinite. Right. And so there's that, like that misunderstanding. So that kind of totally torpedoes the idea of anything but equal schedule. And then the other idea about like, okay, again, it's under this precipice that, there's one primary parent. Let's just go back and assume that to be true. And then who's the better parent? Who is that parent going to be? Well, kids aren't entitled to good parents. Right? You're not entitled to a good parent. They don't check you out when you take a newborn home from the hospital, right? Social workers don't check out your home, right? Because you got pregnant.
They don't even check your car seat. Like, hey, good luck. Here's your kid and sign this paper.
Yeah, some hospitals, some states, they do check the car seat. That's true. But it's like, you don't have to take that kid back to the pediatrician. Like, there's no vetting. Like, it's your biological kid for the most part, assuming that this kid isn't safe, reasonably safe, maybe going to school eventually. If it's your biological kid and you're living with that kid, like it's pretty wide open. But when we get divorced, everything's scrutinized. But I would argue that, there's probably in every family one parent that's the better parent. That doesn't mean that kid benefits from having that parent more. I have not seen any science that supports that. They are entitled to both of their parents, and this is a fundamental human right. And P.S., the most contemporary science, the settled science, it is settled science, shows that 50-50 schedule is important. It's not just the hours, like all the benefits that you're talking about, Zach, like all the cool things you can do and the gritty parenting we're talking about, like the bonding, that is all huge, right? You could probably get that in 60-40, like you have a not perfectly 50-50 schedule. You can get that, but that 50-50 number is actually really important. This comes from Bill Fabricius, Dr. Fabricius of ASU, who we all know. He does like a lot of work, a lot of studies in this space. And he does a really nice job of explaining why that 50-50 number is so important, because when it communicates to the kid that both parents are in it and they're not leaving. When schedules are unequal, it is nearly always in the favor of the mom. The dad is marginalized, and statistically, those dads slip out. They have been told by the courts, they've been told by culture, but they've been told by the mom, they don't matter, whatever, you're a lesser parent. And so those men need to go somewhere where they feel appreciated and find meaning in their lives, right? Because they're not making those bonds with those kids. They don't feel like they're important parents, and they slip out. But when we have that 50-50 schedule, it communicates to the dads that are important, and it communicates to the kids that your dad's not going to leave. And that is amplified when there's conflict in that family, though, because parents do fight. That's why they don't live together anymore. So when there's that fighting, when that number is 50-50, that schedule is 50-50, that kid feels that much more secure that nobody is going to abandon them.
Right.
It's really so powerful.
That simple. It's just that simple.
It is. And it's so simple. You don't have to get a calculator or a calendar to figure it out. It's just 50-50.
Right.
Pretty easy.
Right. 50-50.
Obviously, and just like you said before, everybody sorry, Zach. Everybody acknowledges that some families don't work that way. There's people that are deployed. There's people that have certain types of jobs. There's all kinds of things where it can't necessarily work like that, like all the time. But you can definitely make it work around any schedule most of the time.
Yeah, or just the spirit of it. It's like, like Zach, I think you guys have worked out in a creative way. Like, you're not going to get 50-50 anytime soon, but you're seeing your kid every day in some way. Like, and maybe that helps the mom out with her work schedule, whatever. So it's like, there's other ways to communicate that or get around it and be creative. If unfortunately everybody in the room can't get it together or chooses not to get it together, or like you said, that there's external factors that get in the way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have 50-50, like we talked about before the live was that I don't know that I would give what I have right now with my son away for 50-50, because what we have right now is so great. You know, we have this opportunity to really be together every single day. And so, you know, like you said, like it's that constant contact, it's that constant belief. He knows his dad's here. You know, he knows that I'm with him in this growth and this life and support and leadership to help him become the man he's meant to be, and enjoy this childhood experience that he gets right now in that process. And I support his mom, you know, and by being here and doing these things the way that we're doing it, you know, I'm in support of her. I help her out a lot, and I get to be there for my son, and he gets to see me, you know, even when we aren't together, he gets to see me give of myself in a way that helps his mom have the life that she wants to have, so she can provide for herself and for him, and I get to be there for both of them. And so um, I don't know if you see it the exact same way as I do, and I like the way that I see it, that it gets to be that I am really giving of myself completely and fully to build this great co-parenting relationship, so our son can have the best of both of us and have the opportunities to thrive. That, you know, he gets one opportunity to be a child, he gets one opportunity to be a human, unless you're, you know, believing in something else, but um, he only gets us one opportunity, and we get to, like, I get to support him in making it the best that I can be. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. And it's so important for parents to get over themselves. I think that's something you brought up earlier, was getting over,
Yeah.
you know, your notions of what it has to look like, of what you're supposed to do and what, like, your roles are supposed to be, and realize that what kids need is as much love as possible. And it comes from, you know, both extended families, having grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and cousins um, and other relationships pouring into the kids, and they want all. You know, they're not like, I only want my mom's love and then my dad's love occasionally, but then nobody else. Please, like, save your love for
Yeah.
somebody else, because I'm loved out. I only have so much. You know, kids are like, give it all, right?
Yeah, they're greedy. They're greedy like that.
They are.
Right. Yeah,
So
and the other thing is, like, people I've been thinking a lot about, not just in terms of this custody issues, but just I think we cling to, you know, in custody divorce situations, people, the big conflict is going to be the time sharing and the money. And these are really the only two things that you can definitively measure. So it's, like, really lazy. It's like, okay, you're pissed and you're arguing or whatever, and it's like you can't measure how much rapport you have with your child. You can't measure how, like, totally over you are your ex. You can't measure, like, who of your friend group thinks you won the divorce, right? These are not measurable things. You can estimate, you can tell yourself that you're winning it, but you can't actually, it's not a tangible, concrete thing. But you can measure overnights, you can measure child support. These are concrete statistical things. So I think that's one of the reasons people get obsessed about it. It's like, oh, you know, he can have the kids 30% of the time, but not 50% of the time. But guess what? The kids go to school, and then they go to their friend's house, and then they're at sports all the time, and then they go to summer camp. So who cares about actually that 20% delta? Like, get it. It's so stupid.
right, right. Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, and
yeah,
I
like I
had to
said,
step away. I'm sorry. I
they're
just had
doing
to
There's
so
step
many
away.
no
things, right?
value in that.
My son's in every sport known to man, and I feel like
Yeah, he
almost
is.
every night he's going, you know, um, and so you're not getting that much time. And is feeding them food and giving them a bath, is that, like, really the best quality time? Like, that's usually a fight. So is that, like, the greatest quality time you can get with your kids? You know,
Well, and
eating and bathing.
the other force though, Zach, is like, I wrote sometimes book, like, there is a whole pushback now about these, like, endless hours of quality time, all this pressure to have all this quality time with our kids. The kids don't need that much. Like, we've doubled or tripled the amount of parenting hours that we put in, especially educated white people like you and me, who are like, whatever. One, there's pressure. Again, this whole attachment parenting thing that's gone totally sideways, misunderstood. And then we're like, you know, sitting with a kid to do algebra when he's 6, and then we're like trying to sign him up for, like, advanced, you know, like, all of this hyper intense parenting for what, you know, to make them competitive in this economy, or is it just feed our egos, or because everybody else is doing it? In any
Egos.
case, it's not productive. It's making our kids nuts. It's making them neurotic. We know where they are all the time. They've got tracking devices on them. We're calling them in the middle of class. We're like, get their grades online before the kids get their grades. I think your kids are little, like, just wait, mine are teenagers now. It's like, you can be up your kids' butt so bad until they're like out of college, and it's not serving them. They need like a hug once a week, a vegetable once a month, and they need to go play in traffic. They really do.
Yes.
They don't all this parenting.
Yeah.
So if
I
we
was
take
with
that away
my
from parents and moms in particular, you can't argue for more time, because more time is invaluable to anybody.
Right. I was with my girlfriend and her friends and our kids, and they're all like the exact same age, so they had a great time. Let's clap for that. And we were at a creek, right? We were playing in the creek, and we're throwing rocks, and the boys played. It's 4 boys. They're all 7, 8 years old, and they played for like 3 hours in the creek by themselves, and had like the greatest time in the world. They didn't recognize that we were there. They didn't come and interact with us. They just enjoyed themselves, and they found sticks, and they sharpened sticks, and they were doing just like 7 and 8 year old boy things, and we sat there and talked as adults, like leaning against our cars, having a nice conversation, and that's what kids need. Like, they got wet, they got dirty, they were covered in mud. They had a little mud fight. They spiked rocks in the water and were chasing around some ducks.
The whole time you were staring at them the whole time.
Probably pretty close, yeah.
I'm not like that.
I'm sure someone was watching them at every moment.
Eye contact with them the whole time, and then if they went around the corner, you looked at you like, find my phone.
Yeah, well, like, when we were kids, it was it's a societal thing, right? Like, be home when the streetlights come on, right? That was a thing that I had as a kid. We're gonna have dinner, streetlights come on, be home when streetlights come on. That was the rule, and we were allowed to like run free in our neighborhood. And today's day and age, I mean, somebody might pick your kid up and call the cops on them if you let your kids run around in the streets around the neighborhood and stuff. And it's something that we did just fine. And nowadays, unfortunately, it's questionable. And then you get the cops called on you, and then are you a bad parent? And now is CPS going to be at your house, like wanting to supervise you and like and micromanage everything that you do as a parent? I think we need to go back to that time where kids were allowed to roam free and allowed to have some freedom. I give my son a little bit of a boundary outside of the house and in the neighborhood, but I don't let him cross any streets or anything else, because he has an alleyway and a couple of houses that he gets to roam around in, and we don't have fences in our neighborhood, so it's kind of nice. But I feel like I give him more freedom than a lot of parents give their kids.
It's a pressure. I feel you on that. Like, I was like the free range parent, but it was lonely and, to your point, scary.
It is,
and the thing is, I mean, again, like, science wins, and like, it's safer to raise your kids today, not just like stranger danger, but like communicable disease. And, people aren't beating their kids like they used to when I was a kid.
Right. Oh, we're having a big old discussion on Facebook.
Our kids are so safe. Like, kids when growing up, people had broken arms and legs. Like, they fell out of trees or off the jungle gym or whatever. Not anymore. Nope. Kids don't have broken legs because they're like such precious angels. They're so protected and they don't take risks. Right. And this also, I've also heard people talk about, it's like the feminization of parenting. Right. Because it's dad's inherent value they bring to parenting is like encouraging kids take the risk. It's like the kids playing in the jungle. The examples, the kids playing in the jungle gym, the mom's impulse to be like, no, it's too dangerous, go high. Whereas the dad's like, yeah, you go high, but if you fall, I'll catch you. Right. Like, take the risk and I'm here to support you. Whereas the mom's inclination is like, don't take the risk. And there's a role for both. But things have gotten out of balance where it's like the kid's just not going to take the risk and go in the jungle gym. And then they're like totally dependent. They can't take care of themselves, or like this anxiety that riddles young people. I mean, I have a number of friends who work in higher ed and academia, and like, these students are, I went to college when I was like 18, whatever, and I was done. I was like paying my way, had a job, got myself there. These kids are like still children, like the parents are calling the professors. It's shameful.
Have you been to a playground lately? like a playground with, kids. Ranging from probably, kids at a playground could be like 2 to 12, and
Yeah, what's a
their
12-year-old doing at a
parents.
playground?
What's that?
What's a 12-year-old doing at a playground? They should be
Well,
out working.
that's true. Okay, but it could be a whole range of kids, but there is, stacked.
I'll tell
Like
you a funny
5
story.
parents all around the thing, and it's
Yeah.
like, do you let your kids play at all? Like, they design this stuff so it's pretty much safe for everybody. Just
It's so safe. It's so safe now. I
Or they-
found
I've
a
never
playground.
been the person to like stand there on the playground equipment and just like, they're standing there just with their arms out. just
Interior
waiting
South
for
Dakota. I'm going to
this-
tell everybody right now, go to the
It's terrible.
Badlands, interior South Dakota. They have metal and wood merry-go-rounds and teeter-totters and all the things.
Good.
Like, it's like, it's like it was back in the day. If it's summertime, you're gonna burn yourself, and you're gonna get a splinter same day.
Lots
It's gonna
of them.
be
Right, I like that.
yeah. It's
I'll
a
tell you a
great
story.
playground.
My daughter, in the middle of the day, the school day one time, she texts me, "Will you Venmo me?" She's 16. "Will you Venmo me $1?" And I was with some people. I'm like, "What's wrong with her?" Later, she came home. She said she was hanging out with her friend at school, and the friend's like, "Oh, I need $5 for something. I'm gonna ask my mom," but she always Venmos me 10 just to be safe. And my daughter's like, "Oh yeah, you want to see how my mom rolls?" And she's like, "Will you Venmo me $1?" I was like, "No."
There you go.
And that's one of the lessons. Like, you keep money in your pocket. You're a grown person. She does have jobs and you walk around God's green earth with money in your pocket. That's part of being grown up. Don't ask your parent to Venmo you because you need a snack. Give me a break.
Good
Right.
grief.
Right.
Good
You'll be
grief.
fine. You'll survive, and you'll get a snack at the end of school when you come home.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. You need one in middle school, right?
yeah.
We didn't even have water.
Put that up
Talk
there.
about water bottles all the time. Like, maybe you got a sip of water from the drinking fountain between classes or at recess time. You walk around with
Exactly.
your Nalgene bottle, with your purified Nalgene bottle. God forbid, your lips are all chapped during math class. Give me a break.
right. Yeah,
The
kids.
same.
It is hard for the kids, right? And they're growing up in this situation, and as adults, like, we're enabling them to be dependent and not able to just hey, sometimes there's hard stuff, and you're going to find yourself in situations where you're underprepared, and that's okay, and you get to just survive the experience and move on. And we've tried to remove all of that variables, all those difficulties that kids are going to face, and take it all away from them so they don't have it hard. And because maybe we had it hard or harder than we think they should have, and we don't want to give them that. My son came to me the other day, and he was worried about he wants a scar. He's 7. He wants a scar, and I was like, son, you just keep living the life the way you are, and you're going to get scars. They will come. Keep being
Lots of
you.
them.
You're going to be all right. But that's a funny thing to be worried about. And I think in our society, like you said, there's so many things that our kids aren't facing where they could get scars. I mean, the merry-go-rounds now, I literally can't push a merry-go-round at the park fast enough to throw a kid off of it.
No.
I tried.
It's different
not-
than it used to be. We'll just, got to leave it at that. It's way different.
Yeah. It's just not as
than it
fun.
was
It really
15 years
isn't.
ago.
It's not. No, and that's unfortunate. I want to hear you interviewed a bunch of people for this book, right? When you went and wrote your book, you talked to I think you talked to Jen Harmon, who I absolutely love, from CSU. Amazing lady. I've talked with Edward Kruk, and I've talked with Fabricius a couple times each, and I want to know which of those interviews and time you spent with these great thinkers of shared parenting and the troubles of family court and raising kids, did you glean the most from it and really enjoy the most?
Oh, that's great. Actually, yeah, all those people are wonderful. I'm actually catching up with Jennifer next week. I mean, I was I feel like Dr. Fabricius is the grandfather of us all here, because he, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, so I don't even know what his personal story is. I think he's married. He's older guy, at least in his 60s. He's a child psychologist, and he just like knew about why dads were important. So he was invited or availed himself, and he's in Arizona, ASU in Phoenix. And he was just doing some like family court education, like the family court, guardian ad litems and probably some attorneys, judges, whatever. He went in, he's just like, okay, we'll just do like what, talking about. He's like, well, everybody knows dads are just important as moms. And this was like 20 years ago. And they're like, stop the presses. That's
Sure,
not
everybody
true.
just
That's a
knows.
lie. That's fake news. And he's like, wait, what? And so he just saw this huge disconnect between what the social scientists knew to be true for years and what the general public, and in this case, family court workers, understood to be truth. A huge gap. And so he just took it upon himself over years just to do the slow and quiet work behind the scenes of getting people educated. And he did such a good job, like organically, that county, Maricopa County, and then the rest of the state, it just started doing 50-50. Right. And it was because of his slow and quiet education of people. Right. He wasn't out on the steps of the courthouse screaming about his own personal drama. He wasn't like yapping about his crap to the press. He was just educating people with what he knew to be true, which is, good science, and doing a lot of his own research. And he continues to do the work. He continues to do the research. So anyway, so on and on, and it was just organic 50-50. People were just, judges were ordering 50-50. And then that's how things happen. Like trickles into the community, because we know here, most people don't go to court, right? You might make a call to a lawyer and the lawyers will be like, look, everyone here does 50-50, do 50-50. It's not worth it to try to go in front of a judge because the judge is going to tell you 50-50. And then what happens? You're on that playground with the super slow, boring merry-go-round, and you're miserable in your marriage, and you're seeing all the like cute, fun other single moms and dads, and you're like, hey, how's that going over there? And they're like, oh, it's great, I do 50-50, and then I go out and get laid all the time. It's awesome. And so like all of a sudden it's in your culture, right? It becomes part of the culture. Don't go to court. You might not even bother to call a lawyer because what's there to fight about? So that's what happened in Arizona. And then, some guys wanted to get their name in the newspaper. They wanted a law passed. And by that time, it was pretty this shoot in because there was nothing to fight about. It was already happening in that whole state. So right. I think we all owe a really big dose of gratitude to Dr. Fabricius. And he's such a nice way of explaining things. He's just kind of to the point. And I think he's just really got a real gift that we all benefit from in the work that he does, but also his way of just talking about these issues in a very accessible way. And so I really appreciate him a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree. He is one of the guys I've talked to where I just feel like every time I've talked to him, he's just calm and cool, and he knows so much. Like you can't get anything by that guy. He is like the ultimate expert, and he's not over top. He isn't like trying to put himself out there, like you said. He just enjoys doing this work and doing the research, and he's a research jockey. Like, hey, we got to have those guys. Like, it's not for me, but I sure appreciate that somebody out there like him is doing that, and he loves it.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
we talked before. He wrote his chapter in the book Science and Law, and when he wrote that chapter and stuff, he shared it with me, and I got to read it ahead of time, and just to see his passion for the work that he's put into it and stuff. He's on my list of guys I need to get. So maybe it's somebody we should talk to about getting on here, because he really is one of the leading experts, if not the leading expert. And the guy is just so you can tell he just loves it, and he loves what he does, and he loves kids, and he wants families to be better and do better, and our kids to have a better world. And he's doing his part that he can do, and he's amazing at it. So
yeah, I think it's a really interesting. I think a lot about. I've really like given myself like a mini course on like effective activism, right? Because I don't have a background in that. Like, how do you change hearts and minds? And because changing laws is a crapshoot, right? Like there are pockets. I'm sure you guys encounter people all over this country in the United States, in North America, where they think that it's 50-50 law in their state, and it's not, but it has happened organically. It has come to be. Right. Maybe people can find out, maybe not, but they're 50-50. Like it is 50-50 with no laws on the books. And meanwhile, we had, for example, Arkansas, which like 5-6 years ago, they passed a very strong law, and all the judges got together and like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to collectively co-opt the law. And they didn't have 50-50, right? We've
Right.
got Denmark that's
Yep.
got one of the strongest 50-50 cultures in the world. They don't have a good law on the books, right? So it's like I'm really kind of over this obsession with policy. I feel like it's not. It's like either you want to be a cowboy and change the law because that's what is important to you, or you actually want to make 50-50, or you care about kids and families and moms and dads, right? So like it's an either or. So
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments here.
Yeah. Are
But
you reading
again,
all
it
the
goes
comments or
back
just
to
one on
the
first
you
one?
can't legislate.
There is a correlation there. But anyways, so what was I saying about it? Oh, like I think some of the most impactful activists out there are people who don't have any actual skin in the game, right? Like they're maybe
Mhm.
don't have a custody situation that has motivated them to get involved, right? They're often the most effective activists that I've been able to see. And a lot of times with the researchers are doing that work, but he's able to talk about it in a way that we agree, Zach and I, that is very effective. But he's just coming at it as a scientist and as a human and not as like a really traumatized, wounded dad.
Right. It makes a huge difference because I feel like, especially when you go to like the courthouse, right? You're trying to change those laws and that kind of stuff. Oh, they're just angry dads who are out there who didn't get their way, and so now they're just trying to impose their will on the legislature because you know the judge ruled against them, and then there's this
Right.
huge perception of that's who these guys are that are out there trying to change these laws and stuff, and and I think getting to show the softer side, showing that it's all about the kids, like it's about what's best for the kids, and being about helping them out. It's things like my big focus is on doing events. Giving families a place to come and to connect and be build relationships and memories together. That those experiences are the most important things that we can do. And kids don't remember who they brush their teeth every day, but if you have the world's largest outdoor water gun fight, kids remember that. That was a shameless plug.
I like it. Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like I talk about that in the book too, in the science around memories, because it's kind of a memory war. So it's like, oh, I've ate kids 8% of the time, so they're gonna have more memories with me. They're gonna say with yes and not necessarily, right? Like, you don't know. Again, like we parents cannot control what their kids are gonna remember. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, maybe like, you make a big deal out of a big trip. You go to Disney World. Like that's maybe a big deal. It's a big expense, it's a big trip, whatever. But what's going to make it is it because like it's so fun. But what if the family is fighting and bickering the whole time? Is it going to be so fun, right?
Right.
Is it like it's going to be a great memory if everybody's getting along? It's like a really joyful thing, or the opposite, or maybe somebody like the kid gets like sick. I mean, it's you can't control these things. Is the point I'm trying to make?
So I have an interesting just just a tidbit. I know a girl who's 11 now, and from the time she was 3 until the time she was almost 8, she was away from one parent most of the time. She saw that one parent every other weekend. She doesn't remember it that way. And
What does she
she's almost
remember?
12 now. She remembers, from what she says, she remembers she felt like it was like she was with the parent she was away from more.
That's
Isn't that
interesting. I wonder
interesting?
what psychologists say about that. Like maybe she like exaggerated those experiences because they were so precious and few or something. That's
Don't
very,
know.
very interesting.
I don't know, but
Right.
that is her words. Like I don't remember it that way.
Right. Because
Like I don't
I mean,
remember
you don't remember
missing
brushing your teeth.
anybody. But isn't that
You
interesting?
don't remember going. Yeah, you don't remember going like to bed every night and who you read books with and stuff. Like memories are random. I mean, I look back at my childhood, and my dad had worked like 80 hours a week or some crazy nonsense. He was like a work machine, and I only saw him at sporting events. But I have a ton of memories with my dad, and it was like he
You
was
don't feel like
there.
he was gone all the
No,
time?
I don't feel like
Well,
I missed
see?
anything of him being gone and not around.
Yeah.
That we had epic experiences together, and both my parents had great times and stuff. And I mean, and when you look back now, like in my 40s now, I'm looking back. I remember like 7 things from like before I was 10, and maybe that's weird, but
Yeah, me
like I
too.
don't remember a whole bunch of stuff, right?
That
Like
might
it's
be
not
trauma.
that. it might not be not that impactful.
That's what I heard. Just
And yeah, and but having, I think having the opportunity to have those things and be in those spots and uh, gives you a chance to have more memories that are remembered and stuff,
yeah.
and more opportunities. And but the day to day stuff, like, I don't ever remember brushing my teeth as a kid. I don't ever remember like fighting with my mom about going to bed, right? Like those are never memories that I had,
I
or like
believe you.
I didn't want to get up in the morning and we argued about getting up in the morning and getting dressed, right? Like those, it happened. I guarantee it. I know if I asked my mom, she would tell me these things, and probably everybody else would. But like, kids don't have those memories. Those times, while they might be impactful in the moment or help shape them and how they grow, that's not what kids look back on and go, that these are the things that I remember from my childhood that impacted me, right?
No,
And
I mean,
those
those
are,
are what, yeah, I don't, I wonder though, like for the overall sense though, right? The sense of security or the sense of being cared for or not, or being afraid or all of it. I mean, I mean, it's not ever just one thing, right? It's like these things are complicated. And that's the,
Mhm.
Yeah, way complicated.
that's the beauty and the mess of being human, right? That's all of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of fun to have. I mean, like getting to raise kids, right? Like there's no manual. My friend called me up and the car seat thing was big because he called me up the other day and was like, "Who do I call to get my car seat?" He lives in Chicago. Like we're gonna have a kid, and I think his kid's gonna be due like in 3 weeks, so he's still got time. But he's getting his car seat set up because that's this guy is an analyst, and he's like, I gotta have everything. All my ducks have to be in a row. I gotta have all of it planned out, and who's gonna help me out to get my car seat set up? And I was like, I go to the hospital, and they may have a social worker, but odds are, man, read the
Fire
manual for
department,
the car seat and
Exactly.
just
The fire department.
fire departments
the
are all
car
about it. I think they give it to you for free even sometimes.
Sometimes,
a
yeah.
car seat. All right, go to your fire department. If you're having a kid, go to the fire department. I did not know that.
I actually have an article on my blog about it that I did not write. Somebody else wrote it. I can help people with that question, anyways.
All right,
They're free ones
yeah.
because people want kids to be safe, so they have free programs for people to get free ones if they need that service. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, good. Go to your fire station if you need help. Yeah, it's everything you do in your life, right? Like everything we buy, everything we do, there's a manual, there's instructions. You can go online, like there's manuals for all the stuff you have, every electronic piece you have, all those things. There's manuals, and then when it comes to like having kids, like you know, there's no guide on how to do these things.
Oh yeah, I
And
just wrote. What are you talking about? Isn't that why I'm here?
oh yeah,
There's
this is the
actually a
guide.
book. There's
This is
actually a
your
book.
guide.
Did you not
Just
know?
do it. Equal. It's not hard. Just
There's
shut
a
up.
Duty equal.
book.
Get
I
on
think
board.
I think most important thing that I think and that I've learned from my experience is to get over myself, to let my ego go and not try to control the situation and just roll with it and be of service and to my son and help him every chance I get. Like how can I help my son learn and grow and be his best in this experience right now? And what can I do to be the best dad I can be today? And I think, you know, if you get out of that control mindset, I have to have like control over something, I have to have like the power, and that if I have that, then everything's going to be okay. It doesn't guarantee anything. And that letting go of that and then realizing that this is a human who's going to do whatever they're going to do, and you have zero control over them, and just try to be support and guidance and give them all the love and care, that's being the best parent you can be, and they're going to figure it out, like what one way, whether it's good or bad, and you can't stop them from doing bad things. Like you don't, your kids play outside and they don't get a scar and they don't have any experiences, they still have opportunities once they leave because they're going to turn 18, and you can't stop them from making choices that are going to affect them negatively. All you can do is help prepare them and give them the ability to make those decisions themselves. And if you're controlling them and dictating to them, you're going to prevent them from having that. And when they do get to have that power themselves, there's a lot more chance they're going to make those poor choices and do things that aren't in their favor because they didn't get to have that freedom to make those choices and mistakes in themselves. Like what comes riding bikes and that kind of stuff.
No,
Don't
it's a
you? Do you
gift.
agree with that?
You give people a gift of screwing up and taking responsibility for it. That's just part of growing up and being an adult and living your best
Yeah.
life.
That's
Yeah.
life.
We've had a few
Well,
people
thank
questions about
you.
like what exactly is 50-50 shared parenting and does it have
Oh, good
time
one.
limits?
Thank you. I
And
was hoping you were
not the
going to
very
ask that.
first person that asked that. And so I was wondering if you wanted to give
Limits.
like,
I don't know so it just means that time shared is when parents live separately, that the time with the kids is shared equally.
Mhm.
However, you can work that out to be.
Yeah, and keep it simple. I mean, when the kids are little, maybe it's more frequent back and forth, but week on, week off after they're in school, I think it's pretty easy. And you end up seeing the kids all the time anyways at their activities, and somebody's always stopping by the house because they forgot their wrestling shoes or whatever.
Hmm.
Agreed. Agreed. What do you think that the most common 50-50 schedule is? Do you think it's week on, week off, or like
I
two
don't
to
know about that.
five?
What's the
You
most
don't know.
common is I hear all these really elaborate things. Um, I do think that I have not seen any research on this, but going back and forth between parents' house, I mean, that's just an inherent stress, right? The stuff, picking up, moving, can't settle in. That is, and your school project's always at the other parent's house, keeping track of the schedule. That doesn't go away, and that is stressful and annoying for kids. I think we do
Mhm.
have to, there's ways to mitigate that as best as we can, but that's always going to be an inconvenience at best, probably a stress. So I feel like if you can minimize that as much as we can, like with fewer back and forths, right? Because that's always a pushback, like, oh, well, 50-50, that's just too much back and forth. Well, I lay it out at some point here in the book. It's like, if you
Mhm.
do like the every other weekend, every Wednesday night, I think that I figured out that came to like
I'm
12 back and forths a month.
yeah.
Right? Whereas,
A lot.
like, for example, my kids are a lot of families, like my kids go to school on Friday morning, like what are we at Wednesday. So Friday morning, they're at their dad's right now. They'll go to school on Friday morning and then they'll come to my house on Friday afternoon. So it's like, you know, 4 back and forths, or it's like 18 back and forths with the Wednesday and every other weekend. And then it's like 4 back
Right.
and forths with
Every other week.
you must meet my cat with the week on, week off. Hi. And then
Right.
when she says, do 50-50. So
Right.
when
Your cat is so smart.
she's the boss, she hears these conversations all the time. She's like, I'm sick of it. It's just do 50-50. So but then I mean the other part of it is like people are like, oh well, if because it's always like, well, what if the dad's abusive? What if he's abusive? Well, guess what? Like if I play right, I never have to see my ex-husband. Right? Because the
Right.
kids just like drops them off and I pick them up and no one sees each other. Right. But that's
Exactly.
also an argument for it that because it's fewer back and forth for the kids. And I do see that. Actually, we're like trying to figure out the summer schedule right now. And like some years we've done just split the summer in half and half. And then some summers like every 2 weeks or whatever. And I ran by both my kids individually and they're teenagers now. And I was like, well, what do you think? And they're like, oh God, I hate going back and forth, even during a school year. Like even every week, it's so annoying. I can't wait. I was driving my daughter and she's like, I can't wait till I'm an adult and I can just live in one house.
Don't you hate that? Sucks.
I hate
That
it.
isn't.
It breaks
You're just a
it.
parent, and you did it, and it's our fault, and we're
Yeah,
sorry. That's the way
it
it is
sucks.
right now.
It
Yeah.
is. I do feel bad about that.
Yeah.
So, but right, there's ways that
This
we can
is life.
mitigate that.
Right.
Mhm.
So, right, because it's
I think
again,
those.
it's back and forth when it's like an every other weekend situation.
Yeah. So you
Mhm.
think I'm sorry, I'm just curious. I'm just picking your brain. So you would be like, okay, 6 weeks, 6 weeks. How long is your guys' summer?
Well,
I
it
don't
started
even
when we were in
know.
New York. In New York summer, in New York City, the summers are forever have been 2 months. It's July and August.
Just eight
So it's a
weeks,
month and a month.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. So you could split it that way, and
Yeah. And now in Virginia, it is closer to 12 weeks.
right.
Um, but then I don't know. I think we're gonna do like 3 weeks and 3 weeks. I don't know.
There you
We're
go. But you
bickering
can
about
work it
it
out.
right now. Yeah.
Well, those
As long
longer
as you can
time
work
periods,
it out,
especially in
it'll
the
be fine.
summertime, like you don't have to go on a trip. If you're gonna go on a family trip, you don't have to leave like on Saturday morning and be back that next week. Like you could go on a
Yeah.
Wednesday and come back on a Wednesday, and
Right.
it gives you some more flexibility to
Yeah.
be the parent you want to be and have those experiences and give your kids the best, And I think the more time you can have together is better. I think the hard part and probably the problem is that it's more about the parents not wanting to be away from their kids and missing that time and that connection than it is like the kids not being fine, you know? I mean, you talk to so many
100%.
kids who they can totally handle like, I haven't seen you in a month, but guess what? I see you tomorrow, and it's like I didn't even miss a beat, you know? Like we're right back at it. And it's the parents who count those days and see those days in that time. And kids don't have the same recognition of time and it's you know how fast it goes or slow it goes, and
It's so
count it like
true.
we do, you
No,
know.
it's so true. Like, and the other thing is like nobody is anyway, like you got this whole thing like how much you love spending every minute with your kids, and I will let you have that. I will say that most parents, kids are exhausting and they're annoying. Right. And I would
Yes,
say there's a
I
reason rich people invented sleepaway camp, boarding schools, governesses, big houses, because
nannies.
Vacations.
they're annoying. And then the rich people that can afford like all these divorce lawyers, like, no, I need to spend every weekend warm with my child. I can't get enough of my child. Like, you're a liar. You are a liar.
Right?
It's not terrible to have that breather, that break. Your Zach time, Zach.
No.
Remember Zach time?
Exact time.
Zach
I
time,
talk
so you
about
can
it a
come
lot.
back and be a dope dad a few days later.
Yeah,
Zach
it's something I
time.
talk about all the time. Is that like my time for myself is like precious. And I get more gym time in. I get to do the hikes that I want to do. I get to ride my bike, not just around the couple blocks because that's all my son wants to do. I can ride it as far as I want, and I can go have a beer with my friends and play softball and drink afterwards because that's what I enjoy doing. But uh, and I don't do that when I have him because it's not responsible. But when I don't have him, I only have to be responsible for myself. I don't gotta be like the perfect example of like this is what I'm supposed to be doing and living exactly as I want to show him. And I can make those choices and I can be an adult who enjoys those things when I don't have him. And then when I do have him, I'm better because hey, you know what? I know that I'm gonna get a chance to go out there and have a few drinks with the boys and carry on, or go on a date with my girlfriend and do something at night that I wouldn't normally do with my son, and that I can do those things and have that time. And then when I'm with him, I can be so much more focused and impactful in our relationship and our experience. And I think he's gotten a huge benefit from it. I don't think he knows, and there's no point in telling him, but that his quality of life and his connection with me is greater because I do get that personal time to myself to like be an adult. Like you said, you can go out and like hook up with
Yeah,
random people and stuff, or have a relationship. I don't think that's exactly what you said, Emma,
totally do that.
but
And what you're saying is really, more applicable to more moms need to hear that, right? It's okay. Like go be a person, right? And then of course we're not even talking about the money part of it, right? Because it's like if you have equal time, you have equal opportunity to go work and earn, and then you don't have to be fighting over child support. Isn't that nice, ladies? And everything falls into place, right? And whatever, you can go out, play softball and drink with what, like all the things. You can go be a whole woman, which benefits everybody, including your kids.
right.
Here,
Oh,
Zach, you're gonna take this one.
well,
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, I think for women especially, like they see this like I have to be this parent and stuff, and then you're like struck being a parent. And you don't get to go out there and do all those things, and there's a lot of benefit to going out with your friends. You know, going for hikes and like going to the gym, like those things benefit men. I know myself personally, but I have to imagine a woman getting a chance to go to the gym. It gets rid of stress and everything.
Oh
I've
yeah.
been home all day, every day with my son for the last 5 years homeschooling, and I don't find him annoying at all. To each their own, though. You know,
God
I'm gonna
bless.
I'm gonna also agree with you. My son and I have like the greatest time. I would love to homeschool my son. Um, I mean, we get on each other's nerves sometimes, and we're not like perfect together. But um, I feel like I could be a great homeschool dad. I have a problem where I think it's a lawyer thing. That I know more than these teachers do, or I know enough that I could be as dangerous as they are, and I could do a better job. And so that it's dangerous. But I think being around the kids is a joy and a pleasure. So I don't disagree with you on that. I'm on the same boat, um, but kids are hard and they're time consuming and they are suckers of like energy and emotions. So
And it's
they
okay
pull
to
it out.
want or need a break or just take one even if you don't want it. It's okay.
Right. And I
It's
do
fine.
love my personal time. Like my son is gonna with his mom this weekend, and I'm like, I've been thinking about all the things I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna play some softball. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna clean up my girlfriend's shed that we tore down and haven't had a chance to clean up yet. I'm gonna like do work and I get to do all these things that when I have him, you just you can't do those things because kids, especially at 7, need so much attention, um, especially when you don't want to give it to them. So if you want to give them attention, they probably don't want it. And when they do, when you have things going on, they want it. If he was here right now, he'd be on my lap, like on top of me because there'd be no chance for me to do these things, right? And I mean, your kids don't want to hang out with you at all anymore because you're not cool. So
That's not true. Actually,
unless you
well,
got
this,
Venmo
like,
cash,
that's the thing I've learned. Like, I really like teenagers overall. Like, I love when their friends are over. Like, I spend time at their school, helping out with different things. And I have like really nice relationship with both of them. I really, really enjoy this. But I'm wondering if it would be so nice if they were here. I don't know. I don't know because that's not what our family does. So,
yeah, yeah,
so
and we all,
I would love to take any more questions if any of you guys have
yeah,
questions, if anybody watching, and then I've got to sign off.
yeah.
I have
No, let's do
so
that. If you
many
guys got some
questions, but
questions,
we
put the questions in
want
there right
follow-up
now, and
questions.
or forever hold your peace. So Emma does well. Tell us about like where they can find you at. Where can they find you on Facebook, Instagram? Do you have like a X or
So
whatever?
yeah, so Facebook would be Moms for Shared Parenting. You can find the book on Amazon is really the best place, but it's on all of them. Somebody asked where else. I bought Barnes and
Yep.
Noble and I think Books a Million and maybe even your local bookstore if you even have a local bookstore
I
anymore.
Bonsai Books in Cheyenne, Wyoming, is ran by my sister. I would love to get a copy or two to have at
Oh,
their shop. So
let
I'll
me
get you
know.
on that
Maybe
because my
I'll
sister's.
publish it to the publisher if it's not already in there. Like I don't know how that works exactly,
I
but
don't
yeah. So
either. Yeah.
those are the things. And Twitter, I've been active on Twitter lately. Is Johnson Emma at Johnson Emma, and yeah, like go for it.
Right.
How do
Yeah.
you do that
Uh,
anyway? Just getting it into it like the local library. Does that just happen?
Well, the publisher takes care of all
there's
that.
publishers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I mean, if you're self-published, there are ways to do that too. But in this case, the publisher takes care of all that. Hopefully they're doing that.
Right. And then there's like
good.
conglomerates that they like these groups get together. Like when she started her bookstore, off topic totally. But when she started her bookstore, they like joined up like this book club group that helps out bookstores get the right books to sell to the people, and they know what's out there, they know what's selling and what is moving, and they help dictate and control what books come in and go out, and then based on what they're selling, then they recommend different types of books. So as they've been doing this bookstore since October now, they've gone back and forth on different books that are being given to them, and then ones that haven't been selling, they can send back and then get other books that are more appropriate to the crowd of
Yeah.
people who come into their
Right.
bookstore.
Right. If they don't sell,
So
yeah, you
interesting.
can. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it. And then I don't know. I'm like always looking for like opportunities to talk about this issue. Like, yeah, I mean, this is just really it might give I guess Rob doesn't want to hear my opinion, but I don't care. I'm coming at you. I got lots of opinions, Rob. How much I do? I take it back. I don't have to go for more of my opinions. I got all night. Rob,
Rob
listen
is
up. Here we
probably
go.
gone. That's kind of an old
Rob,
comment,
you got her
but
energy back up. Let's
hey,
go,
are you
Emma. Let's
still
go.
here?
Your cat's gonna be tired.
But
Come
I'm
on
like,
They're not
in.
going
I'll
to
just
sleep
tell you
now.
some of the things I've done, and this is like just for my give back. Like I gave a CLE once, which that was a great success story. This was in a rural community in Pennsylvania where I just knew a local lawyer. He's like a general lawyer. It was like too small to like even have family lawyer. Everyone's just like a country lawyer. And I was telling him about this work, and he's a younger guy. He's like, yeah, like I never thought about it, but that sounds fine. Like 50-50, yeah, that makes more sense. So he invited me and I gave a CLE, and it was fine. There's like a dozen people in there. It wasn't big. And then for continuing legal education, for those of you that don't know, so lawyers have to get a number of credits every year to keep your licensure. It's just like every lawyer has to go through these. So there was other court, like a judge, or it was in there and magistrate and whatever. And I checked in with my friend Justin a couple of years later, and he's like, yeah, after that, like everybody like just does 50-50 here. So that's like the way we can change things, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
I've done things that, like, corporate speaking. I spoke at Google about this topic to like a women's group at Google. Sorry, Rob. There's lots of women's opinions in that group. And then why?
Like
Rob's getting all the jokes right
And
now.
those ladies were
Rob.
smart and they had a lot of money, Rob. And they
Right.
Feel
control
free to write in
Google
with
that
your
we're on
questions or
right
concerns.
now, Rob.
I'm available 24/7.
I think it's
365.
I feel like we have to have women and women who have gone through this experience in different ways who are in support and speak about this stuff. I mean, you go out there, the DV groups are ran by women. The people that are opponents to this stuff are women, and the 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 viewpoint is, especially when you're talking with like judges and you're talking with the legislators and that kind of stuff, it's that it's angry dads that are out there who are trying to stop this stuff. It's just angry dads. And when they have somebody like Emma come on here and say, "Hey, I had full custody. It wasn't the best. I started doing research. I started learning, and I learned why my kids need to have their dad just as much as me, and the value that their dad could bring. And letting go of that has given my life so much more purpose and ability. I mean, if you had your kids all day long and everything, you couldn't write this book. You couldn't do all the research because you're so busy and getting your energy
Bitter.
taken out by your kids. Yeah, you couldn't do all those things.
I could type through the bitterness. But I'll say I do think women have the power over the family sphere. Men are still dominant in the public sphere, but women have the power over family. And I do think we have an obligation to head this problem up. So let's leave it on that. Calling all the ladies, just reach out to me if we want to have cool ideas about what we might do together, support the stuff these awesome people are doing to move this issue forward. I think we need to just be brainstorming some really cool, interesting, fun things to do that can put a positive spin on this issue.
Right. I think the hard part is it's just like this view that it's men against women and we're like fighting about it and stuff. And really, we should be coming together, even if we don't agree on every single thing. Like, I would say I used to be maybe a feminist when I was younger and stuff. I don't think I'm a feminist anymore, at least not the modern feminism, but that, especially the modern feminism. But I do think, I'm definitely not. But I do think that it's important to come together and that to give a woman the opportunity. Shared parenting allows a woman to have the freedom to be like the woman she wants to be, whatever that looks like. Being
except for this homeschool lady, not her.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Hey, stay at home and take care of your kids. Do that stuff. I love it. And for some people, that's exactly what they want, right? Like there is that niche.
Well, no, but that mom. But okay, I don't know about this particular mom.
I think it was a dad.
Need to beat up on
I think it was
her.
a dad actually.
It was a dad.
But that's the thing. How do you? But that's when when somebody's like, I'm a stay-at-home parent. And these kids can't leave me. I'm all they've ever known. They can't go 50% of the time because I've been home with them full time. Oh, and P.S. I don't have a way to support myself. So all that extra parenting time and custody comes with a big fat child support check. We have to get away from this idea of parents being home full time with their kids. It doesn't, the studies don't support it. And then, half of us are divorcing, and that's where things really hit the fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
In an intact family,
it's a team.
Is that does studies support that in an intact family?
What's that? That what?
That is a positive thing for one parent to be home with the kids.
No, there's a higher divorce rate, higher acrimony, and the reality is and for most families, that's going to be
a higher divorce rate for a. Say that one more time. Sorry.
So if there's one parent that doesn't have income, when women don't work.
Mm-hmm.
There's more conflict in the family, the higher rate of divorce. And then, and just think about it, common sense, right? There's less money, and money is the number one reason people split up. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get a break from the kids, right? There's this inequity, right? And then it's then there's the whole thing looming over the whole family that if that family those parents do split up, they're going to have to come here and watch the show because it's going to be so ugly.
Mm-hmm. The hard part, a lot of stuff with my page and stuff that I find is that unfortunately it only come to the page and people are finding the resources and stuff after they're already going through the hard conflicts in courts and everything else, and they're having this drag out fight to be parents and be involved in the kids' lives, and if we could get to a spot where we are coming and getting support before then on how to do these things and doing it in a more, you know, connected fashion. You know, it's how do we do the stuff that's best for the kids and what really is what's best for the kids and not what's best for each individual parent. But that people come in there and they're already in this fight mode, and then they're fighting our pages and stuff. And when I put out the positive stuff about like, let's do this stuff to be better parents, and let's do this stuff to have like more connection with our kids and be more impactful, I get 7 likes. When I put out the stuff like, you know, let's bash on single mamas and that kind of stuff, man, I got like 15,000 plays on a post that I put up today with this guy doing a rap about single moms and making fun of them and stuff, and that got like 15,000 likes and hits and stuff. And then I put out some coaching stuff about like how to be a better parent and show up for your kids and be connected, and people are like, this is dumb and blah blah blah, and
It's because the drama, Zach, it plays on people's emotions, it plays on their hearts, and it's not clickbait. It's just more interesting to everybody.
it's clickbait. It's clickbait. It's
It is clickbait. It's tough. It is really tough. You know, it's not sensational. Yeah, I know. I'm fighting that fight with you. I feel your pain.
yeah. Anyways,
Thank you so much. This was really great. I love what you're doing, except for Rob.
Yeah.
But it was.
You know what? Hey, Rob got you pumped up, and we got another like 10 minutes out of you because Rob. So hey,
Yeah,
thank you, Rob. We appreciate you, buddy.
Planted Rob.
We don't even have to fish for that stuff. We just have to open our mouths.
Yeah, right.
Just speak.
There's a Rob
Turn it
everywhere.
on. Rob's come in, so it's open the floodgates. But you've been a great friend and really supportive of me in my experience going through my custody before I went to law school and through law school. And I've really felt like you've been a huge support in helping me get to where I am and a lot of my plans going forward, following your lead and listening to your experiences and things I can gain from that to do a better job. It's been really impactful, and you've meant a lot to my life and to the things that I've done to help out in this community. I owe a lot to you for that, and I really appreciate you, Emma. You're a great friend, and it means a lot to have you in my life. So even though we don't hang out, I don't know how long ago you moved to Richmond, and I'm bummed out that I don't know that.
3 years. 2.5 years.
You know what?
I love you. You changed my life. I think.
I don't know where you live.
But wait, where do you live? Where are you?
Yeah. And, we talk periodically and that kind of stuff. It's very random and stuff, and it's hit and miss and stuff here and there. And
I recognize you in the book. Make an appearance in the book. You have to read the book now to find it.
Yeah, I will have to read the book. So I know, but it's really meant a lot to me, and I really do appreciate you. Every time I've ever talked to you and been around you, it's just been fantastic, and it always has moved me forward into doing a better job and being more focused and connected with how I'm doing this job. And so I thank you, and I look forward to reading this book actually and talking to you about what I learned from it, and just continue to keep growing. So good luck, Emma, and enjoy Richmond. I will be out there in 2 years for the 250th 4th of July bash in DC. So I gotta imagine Donald Trump's gonna throw this bash. It's gonna be like Idiocracy, like on steroids. And the firework display at the 4th of July is gonna be on top of crazy. So
Sorry, guys.
It's gonna be a wild time.
All right, you're the best.
Good night, Emma.
Have
I
a great
cannot
night.
wait to read the book. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Emma. Good night.
Good night.
I do really enjoy that. Like,
What? That was so good. I'm so happy she came on. I didn't give her a.
Yeah. I think she's still around, so she's hearing the ovation right now. But
ovation.
I really feel like, and we've had quite a few comments the last couple of weeks about guys like giving us a hard time about having women on the show and stuff. But
whatever.
Guys can go out there and be angry and fight all this stuff a whole entire time.
Next time we get
it only gets us so far. Yeah, right. Same old. Hey, man, like, but
foul, bro.
Having
take a time.
Women like Emma on our side and on the side of shared parenting is going to move shared parenting forward.
Okay.
It's going to get the results we want.
Exactly. It's on the side of shared parenting. It's on the side of kids. It's like
right.
Why it wouldn't matter to me if she was a purple alien. If she
Right.
supported our cause and could help us move forward and change lives, then so be it.
Right. And she is doing that.
Amen.
And buy the book, because Emma is a great lady and she's a lot of and
You probably learned
and
something.
it helps her out to keep doing this stuff,
Everybody
to keep
can.
fighting, to keep pushing us forward. You know, it's so important that we have these groups out there, that we're supporting people who are out there trying to make this difference. Buying this book, you know, yeah, it's gonna be $25 or whatever it costs, or $20, you know, and that's what books are nowadays. And it moves it forward. It helps the people who are doing these things to get this stuff done. You know, I say buy Mark Ludwig's book. You know, everybody should buy Mark. If you want to change the laws, if you want to have shared parenting be a standard, go buy Mark Ludwig's book. It's going to give
Get
you
involved
information,
and
it's going
buy
to
the
give you
book.
knowledge,
Yeah.
and it supports
Learn
a guy who's
something.
out there every single day fighting to make the change, right?
Mhm.
Emma's somebody who's out there, she's writing blogs. She is the wealthy single mother. Like, people know her. She writes stuff in like major publications, and she's out there making a difference. And she is talking about shared parenting. She's talking to women who are influential in Google and these kind of places, who have gone to college and done all these things, and who are the biggest demographic that are against these kind of things. And she's out there expressing to them,
Changing
this is what you
minds.
want. If you want to be the most impactful at Google, and you want to do these things and be a great mom and have the life you want to have, share
Mhm.
parenting. Don't go to court. And she's talking about that stuff, and we need to support people who do those things. So, you know, buying Mark Levin's book, buying Emma's book, supporting the people that are out there. If people are making things and doing things, go out there and support them and help them to be successful, so they can keep fighting and doing what stuff we need to do. We all can't be out there. We all can't be Mark Ludwig and go on a tour around the country talking to legislators, right? I can't do it. You know, Alicia can't do it. Not everybody can do it, but Mark has already built that niche, and he's doing it, and he's impactful. And that's what we need to be supporting. We got artists like Philly Slim, right? He writes music. He talks about his struggles of being an alienated father and his stuff. Go out there and support him. Download his music. You know, go on there and download the stuff that he makes. He's putting out new stuff right now. He's getting some stuff done. And he's out there making a difference. Go and support those people. Help them out in their businesses. Help him out to be successful, because he can make more music if he's getting support in making his music. And that music can make a difference. He'll be out here on Father's Day for the world record-breaking water gun fight. So just so you know, Philly Slim will be
Plug.
performing on stage, and Alicia's coming, right? You and you got family,
Yeah,
possibly.
we're gonna try and make it.
I'm gonna talk to your husband, so I'll give him a call. But I want to invite everybody out here. If you're on here, if you're seeing this, Father's Day, June 16th, 2024, come out to Rapid City, South Dakota. We're going to have the world's largest outdoor water gun fight. In fact, just the world's largest water gun fight, period, ever done here in Rapid City at Central States Fairgrounds. We've got the fairgrounds.
In the
We've got
history
other
of the world, it's going to be
the
a Guinness
world.
World
There has never
Record.
been a water gun fight like this in the world. So, you know, it's important to go out there and do these things. Like, and that's a memory, right? Like, that is something that you come out here,
Yeah.
you do that experience with your kids, and you go out here. Mount Rushmore's here, Devil's Tower is here. There is so much stuff in the Black Hills. There are activities and things that you could spend every day that you're awake doing stuff. Watiki's here. You will never run out of
I've never been there
activities.
before, you know?
Watiki's great.
Watiki. I
You
mean,
should come in the wintertime. It's not my favorite summertime thing, because it's hot outside. There's you know, cool pools and stuff. It's also kind of nice when it's 100 degrees outside to go inside a pool that's not 100 degrees. So, and you don't get sunburned at Watiki, and that's cool. White folk appreciate that. So, and I get burned. So, but it's important to go out there and do this stuff. And so, coming out here, supporting the events that we have coming up is big. You know, come out here and do that. We are going to be doing other activities, and the intentions that we grow this and do these activities all over the place. So on May 23rd here in Rapid City, we are hosting the first ever Dads and Kids Bike to School Day. And we're going to do the last Thursday of every school year and the second Thursday of the fall every school year that is dedicated to dads and their kids. I'm looking to put together a coalition. So it's going to be in Cheyenne. I'm hoping to try to get it in Casper. And I think Sheridan's going to have it also.
we just got to coordinate it. We can probably do it. It'll be fine.
We can definitely do it. And so, but my intention is that we do this around the whole entire country and the whole entire world. That the last Thursday of the school year, dads around the country are biking with their kids, and that's a core memory, right? Like, you want to know what your kids are going to be impactful by? You brushing their teeth with them and you yelling about eating their food and getting the hell out of the door as fast as they possibly can because they're running late. Like, they won't remember that. They remember like that day when they're in school, but they won't remember that. But you
Yeah.
ride your bike to school and stuff like that. That's something that bike ride to school is something they're going to remember all the way to the next fall, right? They're going to talk about that bike to school. You do the bike ride to school in the fall, and then it gets wintertime. They're going to be talking about that bike ride to school. And Dad, when can I do the next bike ride to school? When are we going to do this again? And those are the things that build the relationship with your kids. Those are the things that are going to be impactful in having that connection that you want to have. And whether it's on weekends or you get some weekdays or whatever it looks like, those kind of things will be impactful. And when we have these things, this is the stuff that's going to make the changes. This is the stuff that's going to soften the legislators' hearts. It's going to soften the naysayers, those people that are out there to stop us from being parents, and that they only want to have moms being parents because that's what's best or whatever. This is the stuff that's going to make those changes, and we're going to make those changes not by coming in there with guns ablazing and stuff, unless they're water guns, but that it's doing the things that show that we're connected, we are focused, we are loving, and we are here to help our kids be the best they could possibly be, and that's what we're going to do. So, anyways, I
Amen.
rambled. Let's go. So, Alicia, what do you have going on this week? Anything fun this weekend?
No. I'm just
You have
waiting
all
for
your
the
kids
weather
this
to get
weekend, or
nice. We're just
it's supposed to be
waiting
like
for the weather
70
to get
degrees
nice.
outside. It's supposed to be 70 degrees outside.
Friday and Saturday, yeah. But like today, it's freezing rain, snow
It's
this
it's
morning. And
miserable
then
here today too.
it was nice this afternoon for a few minutes, but we're just waiting
It's
for the
cold.
nice weather.
It,
I'm probably gardening
oh, I like that.
too
Okay.
early, like normal, but
You
whatever.
don't do it outside. You don't want to freeze your vegetables. That's what I've been told.
I'm a
Plant them in your
professional,
house.
so
It sounds like you're a professional plant killer.
I am a professional gardener.
Why does my garden never grow? It's because you plant that too early. You gotta
I
you
did
gotta like you
not.
gotta have no
No.
freezing, and it's you don't want to freeze it out. And you live in Casper, like you can't plant until Father's Day.
Usually after Mother's Day, but I mean, we're talking like kale, spinaches, stuff like that's going to be absolutely fine.
The real hardy
I,
stuff.
st-
I can plant
I have
pumpkins.
ca-
That's
kale and shoot. Darn it, I can't remember.
doesn't
Some
even know
other
what she
leafy
plants.
green coming back up from
I plant
last year.
I plant things lettuce.
It's not lettuce.
I
It's
got
not
some stuff
lettuce.
planted in my house right now. I got some
Darn it.
some scallions. I got some garlic going. I just getting some broccoli going right now.
Garlic you
Um,
should have planted like in the fall.
I know, but I didn't have any garlic planted in the fall, and so I'm going to be doing this. Al, I did not watch it because we live in Wyoming, and they really didn't have. Well, I live in South Dakota. At least lives in Wyoming, but
Mhm.
out here, we were so far away from the thing, you really couldn't see it, and it was overcast here. Was it overcast for you on Monday, Alicia?
Yes, it was, but I did watch it live
Yeah.
on TikTok.
Ooh, nice. I saw people's posts and stuff about it. Al, did you watch it? Al, that you know what
It'll be
that would have
burned
been
in their
great memory
memory
stuff
for a while.
too.
Yeah. I
When
remember
I
watching an eclipse when I was little.
well, did you watch the one 6 years ago?
Well, it came right through Casper, but we
came.
went to Arizona. We did not want to be here for that. There was like
It
100,000
was a shit
people
show.
in our
It was
city.
a shit
So we
show,
left.
and it was amazing, and it was awesome. It was one of the craziest,
Didn't
coolest things I
watch
ever
it.
saw. I had a vision, and it happened all the time. Like I heard people like all these like flat earthers and all these theories and that kind of stuff. Like, oh, it's this big scam. They happen all over the globe all the time. Like
All the time, yeah.
there's eclipses happening all the time,
Yeah.
just not all the time in America. But that and so after I saw that one, because I was like blown away. Like it got cold really fast. The reflections off of things like the light was just
The-
shining on stuff weird. It was
Yeah. And the
very
shadows like switch or whatever.
yeah, like and it got
Wow.
moon stuff. It was
Yeah.
it was wild. It was a
It
cool
was pretty cool.
experience. But I after that happened, I like looked up online because I'm a total dork. All the different like the next infinity eclipses that are going to happen.
It was like 40 years or something, 24 years.
Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah,
long
time.
past my lifetime and stuff of eclipses, and I was like, I'm taking my son to all these eclipses. I'm gonna go to all this stuff. Like, we're gonna see every eclipse known to man because they're so cool. And I missed this one. But I didn't go to Texas because all my friends in Texas said they didn't get to see it. So that was okay. But I heard it was pretty good in a lot of other places. And I think some spots in Texas. I know a friend of mine in Dallas saw it, but my friends in San Antonio did not see it.
My friend was in Arkansas, and so they were right in like the perfect position for full totality in Arkansas.
It's
pretty cool.
It's an epic experience, Al. You're completely correct. That is something. If you have a kid who's above the age of 7 or 8, that they will never ever forget the experience of the eclipse. And if you get a chance to take your kids to an eclipse in the future, you should definitely take your kids to an eclipse because it is.
Oh, Jason.
It's wild.
Sorry.
So that's
Jason
okay.
said
What's
he
up,
drove
Jason?
to Missouri.
Oh, wow.
4 minutes of totality. That's really cool.
It's so cool, man. Congrats on Jason for taking that drive.
I'm pretty sure when it
happened
happened here 7 years ago or whenever it was in Casper, it was only like 2 minutes. It was dark. It was like a really short.
It was something like that.
It was like 2 or 3 minutes. Like this one was
Yeah,
different because it was longer. However that works.
I mean, maybe the moon was going in the same direction, right? I don't know how it works. Anyways, I'm not a scientist. You know who we should get on the show? Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he would know exactly how the moons and the shifting and stuff, like there's things, and he would have known
That's
that
not
stuff.
what our show's about. So
could be. I don't even know if Neil's a dad, but the dude's entertaining, and people would watch. If Neil deGrasse Tyson was on here, people would turn in. So
probably.
But
like 1,000
next week we
people
got
here at one time.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, I think eventually we'll have that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Unfortunately,
We will.
this situation is not going away, right? It's going to keep happening, and even if we get all the laws changed and have share parenting to stand on every single place, there's still going to be parents messing up. There's still going to be fights. There's going to be false allegations. There's going to be things that are coming up that we're going to have to talk about, and we're going to have to work on. And
that's what I was
and
going to
so
say
by
earlier.
our drive.
You can't legislate good morals, right?
Can't. My mom was really worried about me going to law school and working to change all the laws. My mom was like, if you get the laws changed, what are you going to do for work? And I was like, Mom, people are going to get divorced. Like, people suck for all kinds, and they need help. I will transition, and I will survive, and I'll be just fine. And if I can get all the laws changed and I don't have to fight this fight anymore, then hell yes, I will figure it out, and I will be so happy that I don't have to do that stuff ever again. But unfortunately, family law is never going to go away. So unless we outlaw divorce, we got family law until the end of time. So I have job security, and my son wants to be a lawyer. So Martin and Martin, that's going to be a real thing. It's like Cordell, except for we're going to be like really good men's attorneys, not like Cordell. That's just opinion. No, I'm just giving a hard time. Cordell. I've heard. I met a lady that did Cordell in Michigan, and she seemed like a really good attorney, and she really cared. And I would imagine most Cordell lawyers are just fine, but just talking crap. So, anyways,
hey, guess what this means?
Did you mute me?
I didn't mute you. But the music's coming back on, and we are going to close episode 17.
This song is by my friend Young Solomon, and it's called Feed with the Sharks. Enjoy, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, and thank you for coming in and watching. You're just gonna sit there and jam?
I'm sitting here jamming.
I'm ending the stream.